It's one of the reasons I ride for the kids so much, right? We're all stupid. We don't think we're stupid. We're all stupid. You know, like I went after Fuente, right?
Mm-hmm.
For talking about kids can't come out of the portal.
Right.
He's a kid.
Mm-hmm. No, I know. The more I thought about that, it's like there are some things, regardless of how you feel about it, you shouldn't say it.
There you go. There you go.
Because then you're on record with something that somebody can use against you.
Amen.
So, I mean, do I think he's the only coach who feels that way about the portal? Hell no. But you shouldn't say it. Mm-hmm. You got to say whatever the company line is on accepting it. That should be what you say about it, and nothing more.
Well, I mean, you just interviewed for the job at Baylor last month, dude.
Right.
King hypocrite.
Right. No, that's right.
You know, and Randy Edsel gonna get in on this thing, and I'm going, y'all ain't any good. Y'all suck.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're leaving. Y'all ain't any good. You know, if Clemson has kids enter the portal, why wouldn't you? LSU has kids enter the portal, why wouldn't you?
Right.
You know, I mean,
no, that's right.
What was it? Kelvin Joseph, I believe, was a safety for LSU. He was gonna be real good. He went to the portal in August, goes out of Kentucky. They go 15-0.
Right.
Still greatest college football team, I think, of all time. 95 Nebraska might fight me. 45 Army might fight me. Maybe 88 Miami, 87, somewhere in there.
But well, 88 Miami lost at South Bend, but 87 for sure.
There we go. There we go.
No, and 88 might have been that team. 88 is on that list of the best teams that didn't win it.
And that's
so are the 2003 Sooners.
2019 Ohio State.
And maybe
2019 Ohio State beat 4 teams that played for conference championships, 2 conference championship winners.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good call.
You know,
now that I think about it.
I mean, Florida Atlantic got beat, and they were good. Cincinnati got beat, and that was their only loss until they lost to Memphis a couple of times in a row, right? Wisconsin, good football team, lost in the Rose Bowl to Pac-12 champs. Penn State, right? Good football team. Michigan beat the brakes off of a Notre Dame team that only had 2 losses.
That's right.
And one was to Georgia.
Right.
You know, like that 2019 Ohio State team, they win it all. They're where LSU is. But that's just the kind of year it was with those 3 teams. Whichever team went undefeated was going to win that moniker. And that's why I believe LSU deserves it, right? It's not because of the season that they had. You can go through the rankings. You can see Florida. You can see Georgia, Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Clemson. But to know what Clemson was doing, 29-0 up until that point, just everybody can get this work. To know what Ohio State was doing. Mm-hmm. They lost Chase Young without 3 games. You never missed him. And then he showed up and he showed you, oh, yeah, you really do need me. Because he beat Wisconsin.
Right.
It was a remarkable year. And on the one hand, I kind of feel for Oklahoma, right? On the other hand, I did a bit on Sirius Radio early this morning, Thursday morning when we're taping this. And Ari and Dave are cool, and I enjoyed being on their show. And they said, all right, RJ, I'm going to take the field. You going to take Oklahoma? Yeah.
What, are you talking about the Big 12?
Yeah, this year.
Yeah.
And he said...
back to back to back to back to back.
Because that's
right.
But I told him, at this point, it kind of feels like being All-State in Rhode Island. What does it matter if you're going to get your head handed to you by an SEC team in the playoff?
Right.
Like, what does it matter?
Well, I mean, even with the change of quarterback, see if OU can finally get through a season in the backfield without a significant injury.
Ain't no way.
Maybe not.
Ain't no way. It hits everybody.
I guess. But
I mean, like Chuba being healthy, biggest thing that ever happened in his career.
On the second highest number of carries.
328.
Thank
or
you. 3 something. Yeah, about 328.
I mean, Adrian had 339 one year and went for 1925.
Barry Sanders had 373 in 12 games.
Yeah, well, also, 1, they didn't throw the ball, right? 2.
Not like this.
Right. 2, who else you going to give it to?
Well, plus, I mean, it was, how many times did you ever see Barry Sanders get splattered?
No. Didn't happen. Same thing. I would say that about Kyler Murray, right? Same
Right.
difference. Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, on everybody's list, that's the greatest college football player who ever played the game.
Right.
On everybody's list. I don't care what your list is, right? I've said Cam Newton, and I still believe Cam Newton. But when I look at what Cam Newton was able to do to win a national championship with those parts,
Right.
like none of those dudes on that squad you expect to be anything
Right.
in the NFL.
I just thought it was interesting to begin the decade with a historically great quarterback performance with Cam, and to end the decade with Joe Burrow.
No, that's good.
And bookend the decade with, unbelievable. And I'm not saying one-man band type teams, but, I mean, it's not like Danny Manning and the Miracles or something. But
Well,
Cam was closer to that, though, than
Joe
Burrow.
Joe played with the best offensive line because they got the award, the best wide receiver because he got the award, and he had not the best defense, but voted the best defensive back in the country. And even that guy, like one of the things I enjoy most about what has happened for me the last few years is being on that selection committee for the Thorpe Award, which basically means I get to be in this big room around this table with about 20 other men who really care about this award, and we argue who's going to make the finals list, and then people vote on it, right? So I went after J.R. Reed was my guy out of Georgia, which gets me back to Tulsa because he was there, and you couldn't keep him. He walked on at Georgia, became a captain, won a scholarship, finalist for best defensive back in the country, right? And graduated early. Okay. All that to say, I'm like, J.R. Reed is the guy we want on this list. We want him because of his work ethic, because of his character, because of the way he did it. He bet on himself. He did it the right way. Left TU to go to Georgia and had an interception at Notre Dame, which is the biggest game for them all season.
Sure.
Right. But you look at what Grant Delpit was able to do over 2018. You get it. 2019 wasn't so great. Even he said, because I asked him, like, at LSU, wearing number 7 is sacred, right? It's handed down to the best player and most deserving player at LSU.
I'm just trying to think who else worn it, but anyway.
Pat Peterson,
Burt
Devin
Jones
White.
wore that number, didn't he?
I think it started with
quarterback. Maybe it's like a defensive number now.
Well,
right?
no, I just know that since Coach O has been there and going back to Miles' days.
Sort of like number 20 at Jinx is a sacred number.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids that wear it, big deal. I think Tyrann Mathieu wore it too. So he wore it. And, he was telling a story of how you get to wear that number. And I asked him, who do you expect to wear it in 2020? I said, there's a lot of guys that deserve it, but Derek Stingley is who I expect.
Right.
And I told everybody last year, just like I'm telling them this year, it's the best cornerback in the country.
That's such a cool distinction, though. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's even more meaningful than to have a captain's badge on your jersey or something, to have a number that really says, this is our badass. This is our alpha guy right here.
Yeah.
I think more football programs should do that. But I think guys are so married to jersey numbers.
Well, one, yes. And two, like Matt had his 10, right? And wore the single digits,
Oh, yeah.
But no, my jersey number is me. And it has to mean something more if I'm going to change. Like, because he wore 9 in 2018. Also, Joe Burrow wears 9.
Right.
So I think that kind of, you can wear 2 different numbers and play off his defense, whatnot. But that resonated, among other things. Like, they sent Sam Nader down to tell stories about Grant and his family, because he was saying, look, we're going to have pictures of Grant all over our facilities for a very long time for what he had done and what he done now, winning the most prestigious award for a defensive back ever. But what I remember is his family, because they were displaced by Katrina, and his grandmother never missed a game, home or away. His grandmother, right? Traveled everything. And he says, I remember Sam Nader's been at LSU for 40-plus years, right? Beloved across college football. The thing I remember about Delpit is his mother was the only woman who's ever tried to get his birthday cake or her son's birthday cake on the pregame menu before a Southeastern Conference game.
On the pregame menu?
Yeah. She said, you're going to serve this cake. And we all chuckle at that, but that was also part of them. And by the way, one of the tables that was bought, say, donation, by a table, was by the LSU alumni chapter in Oklahoma. And he said, shout out to all the LSU fans in a room full of Oklahomans. Loudest cheer came from that table. Right. Just yelling. They get after it. And, I mean, it's such a fantastic night. I'm also just giddy at watching the All-State kids, particularly defensive backs, because I want them to know what this means. Right. And I want them to try to get back here. But it's just one of the thrills of the year for me. And I went to the Warren Spahn banquet for Patrick Corbin. Again, Michelle Smith, Fergie Jenkins. Fergie Jenkins styled on me. I wanted to go get my baseball signed, and I dropped my ball. He said, not missing a beat. You didn't play shortstop, did you? No, sir. No, sir. I didn't.
Did you sign it?
Oh, yeah. It's over there. It's over there.
You were about to disappoint me.
No. He signed it. Michelle Smith signed it. Mm-hmm. Bob Carpenter signed it. Thought I worked at WWLS, even though he'd been on the show. I'm gonna tease him. I'm gonna tease him about that forever.
Hey, he's a World Series winning broadcaster now.
I didn't get to ask him if he got a ring, but I assume
he's getting a ring.
Okay.
No, I asked him. And, in fact, I saw him in the hall coming out of the elevator at the Sports Animal Tower. He had gone up for an interview with a different station. This was 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And I said, what's your ring size? And he recited it immediately. And so he's getting a ring. Of course he's getting a ring.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
So, reminds me, one more story from the Thorpe Award banquet. One of the coolest parts of this deal is how the community gets involved. Because it's one thing for the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame to do it. Mike James is fantastic and a phenomenal human being and does a great job.
He needs to get Emmett Hahn in there, but go ahead.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all do. And it's going to happen. But they take, when they can, take the kid to Langston to get fitted for a hat. Take him around to the Thorpe Rehabilitation Clinic. All these different things that you get to do, and it's an honor to do. But the other part is, I forget the jeweler's name, but David Patrick, I'm so sorry. I need to commit it to memory. They give a Rolex to the winner every year, and it's one of my favorite parts because the fella doing the presenting steals the show every single time. So it says, we have this Rolex for you. We think it's going to be a nice compliment to your national title ring. Stops. You wearing the ring? No, sir, I ain't got it. What's their problem? It's just that it was just those pauses that make it great. And he says, over here we like to be prompt with our fittings.
Does the winner know going in he's getting a Rolex?
If they're paying attention, they do.
Okay.
So, like, one of the questions I always ask the kids is, what do you know about the award now that you didn't know before? Because what they want to win is the best defensive back.
Right.
But that's why I say that our All-State kids have a leg up. They know what else goes into this. And they know when you come back here, particularly to Oklahoma City, we all know you. We don't care that you beat Oklahoma in the playoff. No, you belong to us and we belong to you now.
Right.
You're family now. And when they embrace that, like DeAndre Baker came back to present the award, and Roy Williams was there as well because he won the award to present it. They understand. They get it. And that's the point. Mm-hmm. Because the Thorpe family made it the top priority that no. Everybody can play football. Tell me about the kid. Tell me about the man that he is. And if he isn't the kind of man that we want associated with our name forever, please don't give him this award.
Right.
And that's always going to be our highest priority.
Yeah, but a Rolex, I mean, that's a little beyond like a hoodie and a game console and a bowl bag or something. That's impressive.
I'm not sure that they ever talk about that between each other. And I'm going to...
Maybe I shouldn't dwell on it, but I think it's a fantastic, classy gift.
There's hundreds of people in the room. Mm-hmm. Lieutenant Governor and state reps, and Mike Gundy was there.
Okay.
Because Gunner was making All-State, which Gunner's a big kid. I keep forgetting that. He's such a big kid. Brennan came there, had on tie, no jacket, didn't care. The best defensive player in the state has to walk on in North Texas. I heard from Ethan Johnson, who I was so excited to see because coming out of Ringling, because I don't know if you knew this, but Philip Coons is coaching out there now. Tuttle.
I didn't know that.
Okay. He's going to be a preferred walk-on out at OU, and he's fired up about it. And most of those kids, they're not going to play big-time college football, but they're all really good football players, and it was good for their families.
Brennan Presley's a big-time football player.
Who? Yes.
And he will. He's not a development guy, although he will develop. Mm-hmm. By that I mean he'll play this year.
Yeah.
And he will be an impact guy this year. I believe that completely.
People ask,
slot receiver. I expect he'll be used as a slot receiver at Oklahoma State.
People ask me, who is Brennan's comp, right? Because they want to be able to visualize. I said Tyreek Hill without the problems. Tyreek Hill, but a class act. Yes, sir. No, sir. Wildly humble. The family is... Arthur, you met Arthur now, right?
I have.
His father, right?
Well, kind of at a radio remote, but not really. I didn't converse with him, didn't get to know him at all.
Does he look like the kind of person that's going to produce an Olympic track athlete this year?
Well,
I mean,
there's no good answer to that.
Right.
But
well,
no.
Jenny Finch looks like she's going to produce an athlete, is my point.
Sure.
Right. Arthur has 3 of the most talented kids in the metro. He's just, hey, how are you? How you doing? This is my son Brennan. This is my son Braylon. My daughter Brandy, she runs college. Yeah, she's having a good time. She's broken school records at Ole Miss. She keeps destroying people.
Right.
But real quick, how many wins is Oklahoma going to have this year?
OU football?
Yeah.
I mean,
where's the loss, I guess? Where the loss is?
I mean, going to Ames is it won't be easy, especially when you're outnumbered by that point, about 30-3 or 30-6 on career starts at the quarterback position. That'll be a hard game for OU. At Texas, you don't know. I just presume it's going to be another 11 or 12 win season. I mean, just because that's what they are.
Okay.
And that's why I would pick them right now. I mean, if they did the poll today, I would pick OU to win the Big 12 because that's just what they're conditioned to do. That's what they do.
Then we're going to talk about bias in the college football playoff. And are we really going to put this team in again to get housed? Your list, because I gave you this question that I thought was going to be more of a throwaway, but you have given it some thought.
No, well, I mean, I didn't really have in my mind a designated favorite current athlete, and then I really had to think about it. So I'll just throw you my honorable mention list first. Some of these guys are guys I got to know, so I like them and love their game.
Okay,
whatever. But I mean, like Marquise Brown.
Yeah.
When the OU signed him, I thought track guy, probably not a legitimate football guy, but can probably help him somehow. A, I was dead wrong. He's a really good football player. And B, the first time I interviewed him one-on-one, it was about 12 minutes, and I thought, what a cool, smart guy. And he made me laugh, and he was pretty clever. And so I've been a fan of him as a guy ever since that day, and that was the 2018 preseason. But just guys I really like as people and their games: CeeDee Lamb, Tylan Wallace, Marquise Brown. But then beyond that, current favorite athletes, Chris Paul, because of what he's doing right now, the here and now at Oklahoma City, is unimaginable a few months ago that it would have clicked the way it has. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, now that I've finally met him, impressive guy, man, for 22. You kidding? On a bigger scope, Mike Trout. Okay. All he does is just bash and keeps his nose down and just, I mean, think of the money he forfeits in endorsements.
He didn't want to do it. He just want to go hunting, fishing, play ball.
That's right. And he's
next the width of his head.
Hey, listen, he's universally considered the best player in baseball.
I argue with older folks, let's call it, he's better than Mickey Mantle.
Well, he certainly takes care of himself better than Mickey Mantle, and
takes care of people better than Mickey Mantle.
Well, there you go. There's that too. I mean, Mickey wasn't the nicest guy. Right. Justin Thomas in golf is a tremendous player, and I've really become a fan of his the more I've gotten to know about him. But my favorite current athlete, please, is Klay Thompson.
Okay.
He's my favorite.
He's not even playing.
Well, he will. Well, no, but the combination of the beauty of his game, the purity of his skill set, he can score 60 if they need it, and he can score 14. And as long as they win, he's the same guy. And he has a dry sense of humor. He's super smart. And I was in the gym the night that he lit Oklahoma City up with all those threes in a Game 6, do or die, in the 16 Western Finals. The best big game clutch shooting display I've ever seen. And the more I thought about it, I just thought, I really hadn't thought about Klay Thompson quite like this before. But, yeah, I would say he's probably my favorite current athlete right now. He just handles himself in a good way. And is he at the highest level of his sport? Nope. But he's close. And he's a lockdown defender in addition to being the best shooter in the world. So I just like Klay Thompson.
I like you, Bill.
Well, thanks, RJ. No, Michael Jordan is my guy, though.
You've been saying that like you need people to know. But not that you need people to know. That's not.
I just want Michael to know.
Okay, that's
I want
more
Michael
than my
Jordan
point.
to know that my loyalty will never wane. Hey, he's my favorite.
I watched him
my
play.
guy.
I watched him play.
It's he had.
I read the Jordan rules, and then I was done.
No, I'm not suggesting he's for a period of about 14 years. He was, man. He in those days too, you could watch. There wasn't nearly as many games on ESPN, and there wasn't NBA TV, but you could watch it on WGN out of Chicago. Mm-hmm. They carried a lot of Bulls games, and man, any game that Michael Jordan was on television, I was right there. I told you, man, I was among probably the first 1,000 people on the planet to own a pair of Jordans when they rolled out $60 shoe, which I told you is at the time, man, that was shocking, a shocking sticker price for a pair of basketball shoes. But no, I'm glad you made me think about that because I really hadn't put Klay Thompson in that kind of place in my mind until last night. But he's that guy for me right now. You know what, too? I don't think I even mentioned an NFL guy.
Yeah. All college guys.
There's a few.
And a basketball team. Well, there usually is, right? But it's much more difficult to really get to know those guys. And doing what we do on occasion.
Oh, that's right.
We get to talk to the kids. And I get to know the kids when they're still in high school for the most part. And then they become who they're going to become in the NFL in college, and you get to see parts of that unfold.
Let me tell you something. If there is a second-place guy on that list, it's CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is a class kid. And, some people just have a knack for not saying anything wrong or stupid. They don't, and people in his position are given plenty of chances to make mistakes.
That's correct.
He just doesn't make mistakes. He's a generous guy with his teammates with regard to praise and credit, and how many times in the history of OU football has the best player on the team been a wide receiver? I can tell you it's twice, and that's it. Ryan Broyles and CeeDee Lamb. That is it, and he handled that role unbelievably well, and so yeah, he's probably my second favorite guy on that list.
I need him to end up in a good situation. I don't care where
I
he
hope
gets
he
drafted.
does.
I just want him in a good situation.
I suspect he'll end up in a better situation than Joe Burrow.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Plus, Joe is he's fumbled at what you talk about, what you like about CeeDee Lamb. Last month, Joe's kind of.
Oh, he's been tripping.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear the Barstool interview the morning after the championship
That was
game?
first tripping. Yeah, that was first trip.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not. That's fine. I'm not a college football winning player. Oh yes, you are. Yeah, you are. And by the way, Joey, the rest of us that are still on this team, why you gotta mess it up for us?
Right.
Not even thinking about us, Joey.
Right. We'll see. I mean, I just hope I hope he's great because you always get concerned, that there's this limited number of legitimate franchise quarterbacks, and you want as many as you can because you want the game to be as healthy as it is, or healthy as it can be. And so I hope he's a superstar, but I hope he's a cool, mature, handles his business the right way superstar. I hope he's the next Joe Montana.
I think Joe Burrow is more Baker Mayfield than Baker Mayfield.
Ooh. Oh, really?
Yeah.
But I never heard of any nonsense at LSU. Or is he just now starting to?
My man walked into the national championship game.
Oh, I know what he wore.
With a hat on.
Oh, I know what it said, and I was
Big
a little
expletive Joe.
Yeah, it was a little stunned by that. Yeah, I was.
Smokes a cigar after winning a national championship game. Accepts money.
Now I will say this: he did seem really comfortable in the spotlight. I mean, like beyond comfortable, like
when he was at Ohio, when his dad was at Ohio, right, and he was playing at Athens. He was coming up on an AAU team because he played basketball, and sociology professor for the university was the coach of the AAU team, and he gave Mark Schlabach an anecdote. Said, "Look, we came back from behind in one of these impossible circumstances where Joe had to hit every shot. And watching him, I suspect, would make some of our first responders so good at their jobs. Is what makes Joe so good at his job. His pulse will not change.
Right.
No matter the situation, he's going to just be cool. You know, Bradford's that way. He just had injuries. Like, people forget that.
Right.
Sammy B was never too big. Nothing was too big for Sammy B. You know? I enjoy that aspect of some quarterbacks' games. You know? Aaron Rodgers. I'll limp out here and go beat Chicago. It's fine.
Right.
You know? Tom Brady.
Yeah, but I mean, if we'll never know, but David Carr might have been that kind of a guy too if they'd blocked for him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying about
yeah.
Burrow in Cincinnati. Yeah. I mean, if he gets chewed to pieces, we'll never know what he could have been.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope I hope they either build around him or he can find a way to not get drafted by Cincinnati. I don't know. But I do. I love his game. He's so much bigger than I realized.
They usually are.
No, but I'm serious. But after about midseason, when I began to really pay attention, I'm like, oh cow, he's a big guy. He's a NFL-sized quarterback already, and then once he stayed right at 80%, even into the teeth of that SEC gauntlet, and he's still at 80%. I'm like, all right, I'm a believer.
He didn't have a bad game, Bill. He didn't have a bad game.
He didn't have a bad quarter.
Oh man. No, he had a bad quarter. Clemson was getting to him.
Well,
like
that's right.
Second quarter, when they put it together and he drove down the field, he was having a bad quarter.
No, you're right.
They were getting to him, and he was getting pissed about it. Mm-hmm. Because he came out of that tunnel early, and he was on the bike. And now Brent gave him an opportunity. It's just you can't keep the lid on him forever.
Yeah.
No,
he had a storybook career. So and now he'll. Too bad for his sake that this isn't 10 years ago, and he'd have gotten that kind of bonus money that Bradford got.
Yeesh, I don't even want to know what the bonus money would look like in 2020.
It would be, what Bradford got $50 million to sign?
Yeah.
To sign $50 million guaranteed?
It'd be double that.
It would be double that.
It'd be double
You're right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing, Tyler Tettleton